Right. Be right back. Okay, so you have your Anthony Quinn Warner, who decided to plant an RV and a bomb and exploded in Nashville, downtown Nashville, on Christmas morning around 6:30 p.m. A.m. And during that particular time, they said it kind of happened. He was planning there. He was there around like 1:22 a.m. to like, to like 6:30 whenever that thing happened. And the crazy part is that he died during the parish of the blast, and I would say about three people were injured. Nobody died, but during the explosion, it was a huge blast in the AT&T towers. The police camera actually from Second Avenue north of city's downtown was actually able to be captured, and it damaged more than 40 buildings, including AT&T transmission facility that provides wireless services to much of the region. In Monday afternoon, the avenue was littered with rubble and remained largely off limits even to local business owners. Now, as I look into this individual here, begging to this story, in 1978, the last time he actually had that was actually the last time he had a run-in with the cops. Okay, in 1978, he was charged with drug possession, and that was a felony. He was actually therefore on probation, and he worked as IT. He was a loner. He really had developed too many relationships with individuals. He was always to himself, and what seemed kind of odd too. Back in 2019, he actually sold and gave complete ownership to his house, to a woman. And actually, he gave it to one of his properties to another woman too from Antioch, Tennessee. And one of his statements stated that he wanted to be famous all over Tennessee. He was, "I'm gonna be famous. I'm gonna be great. I want to make sure people in Tennessee remember me." Now, when he made that statement to his neighbors thought it was going to be something more joyous, something of because it's the Christmas spirit. Is he's going to do something great? Is he going to do something that's wonderful, that's amazing to the people? We didn't have any type of, we didn't think it was any type of political ideology that he was going to go ahead and inflict a lot of harm. Now, what seems very odd is that, if you want to, what's wrong? Okay, if this individual wants to destroy as many people as possible, he probably would have done this in the evening or in the afternoon. The fact that he did this when it's like not too many people around, what was his motive? We don't know. Some conspiracy theorists believe that this man's motive was to destroy the 5G technology towers, which I think has nothing to do with that. This is the fact that, he was going through so much stuff in his life, and because of the selfishness of him actually not seeking help or figuring out a therapist at 63 years of age. What usually a lot of these beta males, what they try to do is go ahead and try to, just not control their emotions and feel like the whole world owes them something. And then they want to be remembered by just doing some type of heinous act or crime instead of their being notified by their good works. And this is pretty much what this was. I mean, it was a domestic terrorism act. I would say I had to commend like the 6 police officers who were actually sitting up here and evacuating other individuals. Because if the 6 police officers didn't act after that blast, activating people around the area, it would have been more casualties. This was a huge explosion. This is something that awakened the nation here. And so this domestic terrorism that goes on for many other people. You got many people may want to do the same thing all over this country, which is very sad too. And it just goes to show you that as men, it's a crisis going on as far as like their identity. I feel like this man was in a deep depressive mood. He didn't really felt like he didn't want to live life anymore. And now he just went out in a big bang to the fact that I was just going to kill myself, and then I'm just going to make a huge mark on himself that people was going to remember me. That's all it was. And him to take something to do, for him to actually take time out himself to create this explosion, it's pretty ridiculous. The RV was parked at 166 Second Avenue North, right outside the AT&T transmission building, which sustained significant damage in the blast, authorities said. According to CNN article, communications were impacted throughout the area with widespread cell phone services outages. The loss of communication to air towers caused a temporary ground stop at Nashville International Airport on Friday. I will say the good thing is when the CEO actually spokesperson of AT&T, he was saying that, yeah, we lost a lot of power, but we had a backup power supply, so they was able to restore 90% of the communications for AT&T in that particular time. AT&T CNN's parent company said that the mobility network is operating normally and all businesses customers are back online. It's said that nearly all home internet and video customers has been restored as of 8:30 a.m. Monday. The statement also said that adequate power is available on most of the floors in this building in downtown Nashville. The company is managing power needs to prevent overloading generators, and they are closely monitoring the temperatures in the building so that the equipment can stay up and running, which is a good thing too. But with just seeing this thing, this can happen anywhere, man. And I'm looking at this too. Like this man, he worked at Frederick and Clark LLC, and so he hired Warner as a computer consultant for his real estate business as an independent contractor for several years. And I guess he was on the brink of retirement. They said he was very professional, but they didn't think anything like this was in his motive. According to the forensic science, they was able to find out and link one of his remains and take a little DNA sample to figure out like, okay, this was the man, and match up the RV VIN, the VIN number, to actually notice that, okay, this was the man who was the perpetrator. This is the one who created this whole explosion here. Now, this is something that, this is probably going to remember in history, something that one of the biggest explosion. That was his main goal. But at the same time, it's a very toxic thing. This is wicked. It's the world that we live in. People don't care about each other. I don't care what you're going through, but at the same time, if you feel like you're going to be in a depressive mood to the point that you're going to self-inflict harm to yourself, you have to see a therapist, see someone, talk to someone, develop those communication, think in the future. Don't be thinking like in the present now, like, oh, okay, well, if I'm not happy, I want everybody around me to feel my misery, and that's just not, that's not how you do it. That's not being an upstanding man. So what this man did, it was it was a heinous act, man. So the tip about the RV led law enforcement officials to Barktown Road home. A law enforcement official told CNN federal investigators were at the home Saturday conducting court-authorized activity. The FBI spokesman Jason Park told CNN investigators possibly identified him by comparing DNA from the scene to that on gloves and a hat from a vehicle owned by Warner. So that was another indication of them actually finding out who did this as well. So a lot of many evidence, but it's just a sad thing, man. God has given us this life, and when I was in, had a little Bible study with my friends, we was just talking about, like, I was using an example of what Christ was doing in the book of Luke. When Mary and Joseph was trying to find out where he was, and he was in the temple teaching and learning from the scholars, and he was like, okay, and they were so astonished, and they looked at him like, okay, so Jesus was saying, like, why did you come back here? He was like, we was just worried so much about you. Why have you come? Why you didn't come with us? He was like, did you know that I had to be in my Father's house? And he knew his significant purpose, spread the good news, and spread the good news to the poor, set the oppressed free, expel demonic entities. This is what his this gift was supposed to do, and that's a follower of Christ, spreading the good news of God, and that's pretty much our purpose. If you feel kind of lost, I feel like this is when they said idle mind's the devil's workshop, and then you're gonna start not thinking about the consequences of your actions. And that's just why in the book of Romans it preaches that don't be condemned to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that may be that good and acceptable in the perfect will of God. But with this young man and other people that do these things and thinking about killing so many people or hurting themselves so they can have some type of impact on this earth is very toxic and it's wrong, because now you have to suffer. Yeah, you maybe remember people gonna talk about this, but at the same time too, you're going to have to pay for that eternally, because we're all going to be judged at the end of the day for 6 feet under. I want to read this little last statement. It says, Friday night, Smith said his wife noticed a law enforcement truck outside Warner's home as the couple sat down to have coffee Saturday morning. His wife said she saw what she believed was a SWAT team outside. Yep. The RV, man, it's sad. It's something I couldn't really believe it, man. You even think 2020 was bad enough, but just to have some type of explosion that's gonna go on, that people is gonna be that live near their area, kids may be up, people up early in the Christmas morning, you do some type of explosion, kill yourself, you don't care about other people, but luckily though, good thing. But yeah, man, this is very toxic. So that's all I really have to say. think my internet's kind of messing up with me. But you guys continue to like, comment, subscribe, share this video. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm out. Deuces.